installment of DI How Do I webinar series. My name is Shawnee. I am the Dealer Inspired Trainer, and basically I'm the one that teaches you everything you need to know about Dealer Inspire and all the great stuff that we do here. So there I am. So today we have, of course, a great guest. It's our very own CEO, Joe Chura, and he's going to be talking to us about geofencing. I know a lot of you have probably already had training with me, in geofencing and Personalizar, but he's going to really show us. He's going to show us the good stuff and really get into it and all the great things that you can do with it because it's such a powerful tool. So once again, just in case if you're just logging in, we are going to be muted for the most part. So if you have any questions, please send them in through the chat, through your GoToMeeting, or you can always email me at dihowdoi@dealerinspire.com. And we'll get your questions answered. So without further ado, here's Joe. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Everyone, thanks for joining. Just a reminder, too, in the chat section, Shawnee's going to be keeping an eye on your questions and comments as we go through this. I limited the amount of slides because I like to show you the real deal. There's a little risk there because we're relying on the World Wide Web and not going down at all our Comcast, lovely Comcast here. So, with that being said, there's no better way to do a webinar than live. So, I just want to first refresh what it is we're talking about today. And really, geofencing is an additional element to the Personalizar that we created. We had been working on it the latter part of 2014, but really launched at the beginning of this year. And our Personalizar, we'll dive into the back-end section when we get to it, but really focuses on dynamic and personalized content. As you know, when you go to the big websites like Amazon or even Netflix, they heavily rely on personalized content and recommendations. In fact, Amazon sales, if you look at their sales the last few years, they actually had a sales surge when they launched their personalized engine, and now 30% of their sales come from their personalized recommendations. So we know, whereas we don't have, or you don't have the e-commerce business yet, users are kind of expecting personalized and relevant content that's different for them than maybe someone else that's in a different city, a different location, just a different demographic profile, or in a different situation. Maybe they're upside down in their vehicle and whatnot. So as we progress, we're really thinking about innovative ways to deliver this dynamic content. So what we have today is the ability to bucket people from Dadium, from their Dadium scores, so their shopper intensity, what's the probability of a consumer to buy, and then take that data and dynamically change and personalize content really anywhere on the Dealer Inspire website and your website. We can target people by days on market, last seen, first seen, top vehicle year. So what they've been searching for, visitor data. So if a consumer comes back multiple times, we can target people. And when I say target, I mean just deliver personalized, unique content on your own website. So this isn't about paid search or driving someone to your website. It's what happens when they get there. So one of the things, you probably saw this in our marketing materials, is the problem of conquering showrooming, right? So you have people that are in your dealership today, but you also have people in your competitors' dealerships, and they may be looking at your website as an alternative to a price and whatnot. If they go to your website, whether it's on mobile or desktop, you can deliver personalized content to that user based on where they're sitting. So that's the geofencing element to this Personalizar. So a few months ago, I actually did a slide on the Personalizar and personalization. And I took the slide that I did, which is here, and I said we have geofencing coming soon, like in March, and that's exactly when we delivered it. So this is just another element to our personalized content. So how geofencing works, I'm sure you all have some idea of how geofencing works. What I didn't know personally, it's been around since 2004, and it's really designed for online mapping applications. And really how it works is when the location of the device is, when a user enters a geofence, the device asks, or the device actually knows the specific geolocation of that user. And then the browser, so if you're using Chrome, Firefox, Safari, they all handle it a little bit differently, but the browser obtains the geo coordinates of that device through the radio. So if you're in your office building, it's going to look at your router. If you're on your cell phone, it's going to look at whatever you're holding. So that may be a desktop, a cell phone, whatnot. So then the browser actually will lease that data to the user agent's website. So for example, this is why you go to a website and you see things like this, where Mozilla wants to know your location. You see this on maps all of the time, where your maps want to know your current location. And browsers handle this differently, but one thing remains consistent is that the browser asks you if a website wants to know the location, it has to go through the gatekeeper, which is your browser. So part of what the battle is getting more and more people to allow their location. And if you're like me, like I like personalized recommendations. I like when Amazon gives me that data because it helps me discover new products and things that I may not have been aware of. So you have to give people a reason in some ways to want to enable their location. Now, the good news is today we're seeing about 50% of users are allowing location. So what happens with the other 50%? Well, the other 50% is exactly what I'm talking about. We have to give them either a reason to enable their location data, or we can use location from their IP address and whatnot. Obviously, the phone is very, very accurate. You can narrow down things to the building in which you work, the dealership in which your visitors are looking at your website through, and whatnot. So it's really important to give someone a reason to use it, just like Amazon does with us. So without further ado, I'm just going to show you how this works in the back end of our website. So if I go to the back end of, this is Walla Walla Valley Honda, and I go to this personalizer button here, so we'll create one right here. I'm going to title it Homepage USP. The reason I title it Homepage USP is I want to know when I go back to this personalizer or I look it up, what does that actually mean? And that's the unique selling proposition of the homepage. So this is where this specific personalizer is going to be triggered. And then in my personalizer, I wanted to do something fun and say, Naperville, Illinois has 2 Portillo's, don't be jealous. For those of you who don't know what Portillo's is, it's a fantastic fast food chain, but they're really regionalized. There's a ton of locations around here, I think a couple in California, but that's it. It's kind of like the In-N-Out Burger of Chicago and the Illinois area. So we have 2 of them where our offices, which is good. So I just wanted to have some humor, put that in there, and then I tagged it. So in this case, I tagged it Naperville geolocation. The reason why you would tag a rule like this is if I wanted to add another personalizer called Homepage USP or something else, and I wanted to use the same geo coordinates that I didn't have to type them all in again, I can just simply use a tag and it will connect the rule set. So how this really wouldn't apply too much in this case, but in a case where let's just say that I wanted one geofence to target all my competitors, I could draw a series of geofence circles, and I would just, as I'm drawing them, it would just keep adding these up. So we had an account manager a few weeks ago. She literally had 14 or 15 rule sets targeting one of our dealerships' competitors. And what happened is when she wanted to create a new rule, if we didn't have the ability to tag it, she would have to recreate all those, and the margin for error is high and whatnot. So it's really important to know what that tag actually does. So here you see this drag and drop from the rule editor. So this was created from this geofencing editor right here. So those who have joined my last webinar, you'll see the personalizer looks a little bit different than it used to. So in this case, I can pick any one of these rules, and the content will actually change on the home page to this based on any one of these rules. Shall the rule, if the rule is met. So in this case, the one I set up is the geofence is inside, and then these geo coordinates right here. And what you do is on the geofence editor, all you have to do is type in really anything you want. So in this case, I want to target people that live in Naperville, Illinois, because because really saying that we have 2 Portillos is very relevant to Naperville, but it wouldn't be very relevant to Walla Walla, Washington. So what I did is I just typed in Naperville, Illinois. I zoomed out to where I wanted it, and then I drew a circle. So say I wanted to target Aurora as well, I can just draw this circle right here and blanket that area. As I did that, I now get this geofence circle geo-coordinate section up here. So it automatically populates. You don't need to figure this out or anything. So I'll draw a square and show you again how that works. So say I want to target Woodridge, I would just draw the square here, and then now I have these geo-coordinates populate. So once that happens, all I have to do is hit save. If I wanted some special to expire, I could also put the post expiration date here, and this specific personalizer that I'm creating would just go away after it met that date. Now, let me show you how this works. So I already saved this one. So I click update, and it would update it. But if I go to Walla Walla's website, and also I encourage you to do, if you're going to do testing on your own website, do it in an incognito mode, because what that does is it refreshes your browser. So you'll see here that now I have a message that says Naperville, Illinois has 2 Portillos, don't be jealous. So imagine the possibilities what you can do with your dealership, because chances are you have potential customers sitting at your competitor's dealership right now, and they are searching your website for better pricing than the pricing that they're being offered at your competitors. When they go to your website, that is your chance to give them a reason to come to your dealership versus the one they're sitting in. So this is just a very basic example of just on the homepage of this website how you can target this content. So now I'll show you another one that we created, and this was based on a visitor. So this can have a couple different rules. So what you're seeing here is a Honda Accord vehicle results page. Nothing too fancy here, but you'll see this banner. And once I visit the Honda Accord, so say I'm a customer, I'm looking for the Honda Accord, I go to the VDP page, I scroll around, I look, go back to the home page, still get this message. So say I come back to this website at a later date, or I met a specific rule, so now I'm in your competitor's dealership, sitting down, I go to the Honda Accord, and now I'm seeing this offer for a free $50 gift card with a test drive. This is only applicable if the rules are met that we programmed in, which in this case, for the homepage USP, the rules are again that I'm going to be inside this geofence circle. So you can do this in for a lot of different things. You can combine this with datum offers. You can combine this with the shopper intensity. So for example, if you know someone had the probability to buy of a 5 or plus through their datum ID and they visited your website, you can give them a specific offer. And I showed you already 2 places on the home page and the vehicle results page where you can put that offer, but you can also do this on the landing page or really anywhere else you want on the actual website. You can also, in this case, it's pulling in the centroid of Walla Walla, Washington, because this is the specific dealer. But say I wanted to target just Toyota dealerships around the area. I can type in Toyota dealers. Well, it looks like in this case it's pulling in all the respective dealerships, but you'll have a nice selection of dealers, and you can see the bulk of them are right in this area here. So as I hover over these specific dealers, I could also zoom in, zoom out, and whatnot. And say because this is a pretty saturated area of car dealers that I wanted to, so here's Nissan, there's Ford, Subaru, I just wanted to blanket this whole area, I can just click this X and hover it just like that. So again, you then can create any piece of content that you want. You can put it in here. You can also add an image and whatnot, and everything would flow there. So this is if you want to take the personalizer route first, but if you wanted to do this from a piece of content and create a brand new personalizer from scratch, then that may be a better workflow for some. So for example, I could go to the About Us page, and let's just say for the About Us page, anytime someone goes to the About Us page, I want the whole page, the content of the entire page to change based on one of these rules. So I would just go in here and I would highlight the About Us page just like that, and then I would create this short code builder here. And now it's saying, okay, what do you want to use? So do I want to use the homepage USP? This is specific to the homepage, so I wouldn't want to use that. I could use one of these, but you kind of have to know what they are. Like, so Facebook service coupon, that's pretty obvious. So let's just say that I wanted to create something from scratch. So I'm going to call it, this is a test for the demo. I'm going to add a new personalization. And right here is when I could show the geofencing editor. So again, I could click on, let's say I'm going to do oil change service. So I'm going to look for oil change places right here. And really, this is just it's not limited to just auto. You can type in anything because it's pulling in Google Maps. So say I wanted to target this whole area here. I just hover this area, and then I show this rule editor. And I'm going to name this rule inside competitors oil change. I click here. Now I can edit this content. So I would say something like $10 off your first oil change. Save and close. You can see what happened here is that it created this shortcode around this content. So you see this DI personalized key. This is a test for the demo. And then right here, this is where I stopped it when I was highlighting this DI personalized closing tag as well. So now when I publish this page, if my device recognized I was within that geofence, I would then get that message that I just showed you to say, $10 off your first oil change. Now you can change the entire page of content if you want. Obviously, in this case, I'm showing you how to do this in minutes. But if you had a piece of content that was high converting and a great offer, you can insert that into this page, and it'd be very, very powerful. So the other thing I want to show you, and this is exciting. I like to show what we're working on, is the ability right through the personalizer and the geofence map to be able to see where your sales are coming from and where your visitors are coming from and whatnot. So I'm going to show you two spots where this is located. And this is something that is fairly new, so if it's not on your website yet, don't worry, we're beta testing this out. But this is going to be very powerful once it's done. So in this case, I looked at the geofence editor and I just clicked sales, and it's going to map out true sales of the last car deals I've had in the specific area. So the future vision of this module here is to highlight your PMA or DMA, depending on what OEM. I know you guys call it different things. And then be able to show you where your sale is coming from and then where are your visitors coming from. But I didn't want it to only exist in the WordPress backend, so we actually populated it in the Dealer Inspired dashboard. So in this case, I'm in the ROI tab of Walla Walla Valley Honda. I've expanded it, and I could click sales, and when I do that, I can click on a person or one of these green icons, and so you know the real people, they're mapped to the person's name and how much gross was made in the specific area. So now I could toggle visitors on top of it, and now I can see where visitors come from. So there's a big cluster in Naperville, that's where our office is. In looking at this map and drilling down, I can see where other dealerships are from across the country are looking at this website. And then a future. So this sales and visitor, this is coming very, very soon. One thing we're going to populate sometime probably 2.3 is this registration data as well. So we're going to overlap registration data on top of the sales and service data. You'll have an outline of the market area that the OEM wants you to go after, and then you'll be able to understand your pump-ins and pump-outs and where you really have the biggest opportunity to gain market share. And then we're going to take it a step further and be able to trigger an action based off this map. So you'll be able to draw the Geo-fence right here. At some point, you can send an alert to an account manager to increase your paid search campaigns and whatnot. But this is you'll see how just effective this is in terms of just looking at a map. It paints such a different picture than looking at an Excel spreadsheet or numbers to really illustrate where the biggest opportunities are. Walla Walla, because they're visitors and because of Jared and Blake and whatnot, we get visitors from all over the place. So in their case, the visitors may not be the best example, but in your case, it surely would be a nice thing to look at. So that's essentially it. I know that I flew through this, but really what I would recommend is going through your back end. If you don't have the personalizer in there, if you have personalizer, you have geofencing. This was, again, included at no additional charge for the Dealer Inspire platform. The only thing that would be a charge in the future is if you wanted registration data, and the only reason why that would be a charge is because we'd have to get that from Polk or from another provider like Experian. So we're definitely working with those providers to try and get that data and to try and get a good price so you can be very efficient with your marketing plans and look to see where the biggest opportunities are. So with that being stated, I will be glad to open it up for any questions right now. Just want to unmute this.
Hey, Joe. Oh, we got one already. Okay. So yeah, Jay Mealy. Awesome functionality. I feel the same, Jay. Any updates regarding personalizing on VDP pages? Homepage pop-up concept, which we've discussed, and mobile homepage.
Yeah, so Jay, I have good news there. I know from your initial feedback, I'm going to tackle something quick that isn't on there that was important. You wanted a way to tackle and to personalize every VRP page, and we have the ability to do that now, which I can show you. I believe it's on, maybe even on your development site. So, for example, today, if you wanted that banner example that I showed with the Honda Accord test drive offer, you would have to go to that specific Accord page and add that banner to it. And I'll just show you what I mean. But Jay, who is an early adopter to this technology, he had good questions, and he said, well, what if I wanted this, just a message on every VRP page? So we created that. We created that, then made a lot of sense for us. I think it's this one here. Yeah. So right here, you'll see this, but this is specific to just this Accord page. So if I went to the Civic, I'd have to create one for the Civic. Now, because of Honda, because of compliance, we had to do this. But if you're in less restrictive websites, you're non-Honda really, then you'll have a lot more flexibility in terms of what you can do. Now, as far as updates regarding the VDP pages, we are working on that. That's going to be part of the kind of global push to just like the VRPs. The difference with the VDPs is really understanding what should be dynamic and what should be personalized, because there really wasn't a great solution. So if you guys want to provide feedback to me at jchura@dealerinspire.com and what part of the VDP you'd like to see personalized, we can definitely work on that for you. It's possible. It's just a matter of working on it. And the homepage pop-up, we do have a couple of solutions for that now, and that was a feature that was really important to people and myself to launch, is the ability to trigger a pop-up and then be able to personalize the content based on user intensity, geofencing, and a lot of other things. So in short, working on a lot of those very close VDP page. We're just stuck on what part do you want personalized, but everything else is in really good shape.
Joe, I have a question that I've received from actually quite a few dealers who I've been training with, but what would you recommend using a video as a personalizer? I know we can put in kind of image and or content in there, but wasn't sure about how a video would work.
Yeah, so you just embed a video. The homepage USP would be the only caveat to that, right? So the homepage USP is just you're taking over text. Now, if you had a video and you wanted to swap out another video based on personalized content, absolutely possible. You would just take the YouTube embed code, and then you would just simply, I would go to the text part here, not visual, and you just simply paste the embed text code, and then if it met that rule, it would trigger that video. You can also, through our platform, you can also insert inventory if you'd like to, and a lot of other things like a form. So we have this inventory management shortcode builder, which you may or may not know, that you can easily, within seconds, choose what inventory you want to display. So say I just want to display all new inventory. I mean, you can even do things like I want to show vehicles that are over 60 days in stock. And once you click insert, it's going to insert the shortcode for that. So not only would it show a personalized piece of content, it could show specific inventory, live inventory on your website.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. I would say I kind of took a Personalizer as one of my favorite projects, and it still boggles me how much you can do with this. I mean, there really is no limit. So.
So let me give a few ideas of some fun stuff that I've been seeing, and the ability to, you don't only have to personalize content within a geofence, you could personalize it with outside of a geofence. So for example, if I went to this geofence here, and let's just say that Toyota of Naperville, okay, and so I'm a Toyota of Naperville here, and let's say that I wanted to target everyone that's outside of my area. Right, I wanted to have an offer to people that were, let's just say, outside of 5 or 6 miles away. So I can choose this drop down and click outside. So now instead of focusing it on people inside my geofence, I'm pushing everything outside. So you can have a more aggressive offer to someone that's going to travel and whatnot. The other thing we're working on is the ability where, and this should be done this month, as you drag this geofence, you'll get an idea of a rolling radius of what you're actually choosing. So for example, in this case, I said 5 miles, but I'm not sure if I really hit 5 miles. Knowing Naperville, I think I was pretty close to it. But you'll be able to drag this and then see, like it'll say 5.1 miles, 5.2, 6 miles, and so forth. So then you could stop at that point. So if you have specific plans to target a dealer saying, hey, I want to go 5 miles, no more, you can do that as well. So it's real powerful. Looks like we have another question. How can we track personalized visits? If we geofence the competitor, can we track those people who meet those criteria and see what they do when they hit the site? That's a great question. We can do that to an extent. So basically that map I showed you, that's tracking all of your visitors, right? So if someone visited your website from a competitor, you would be able to know that. You can also look at the IP address where they're coming from, so you can match the visit with the IP, and then see if that person bought, you can map that to where their location was initially. As far as what they do when they hit the site, we would have that available, but it would be anonymized. So we would have to, unless they submitted a form, we wouldn't have that data associated with it. There's not a UI built for that yet, but that's a great idea. So it's possible to track it, just not a super easy way to show it or display it at this point. Yes, yeah, you can personalize banners on the homepage, Jay.
Another quick question I've been getting a lot as well. Time of day, like do we have, can we personalize, or do we have something in the works of where you're able to do a personalizer for a time of day? So if somebody shows up to this site after hours, for instance, or in the area after hours, they get a special pop-up or a special message.
Yeah, that's a great question. We don't have that built yet. That wouldn't be impossible by any means. That's not in the very near future. But what you can do is, if you really want to do that, all you have to do is put your personalizer in draft mode. and then take it out of draft mode in the morning when you start your day. So, and if you don't want to forget about it, you can just have it expire that night or that very next day. So,
right, because it expiring just drops it into draft mode.
Correct, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
excellent.
It would just drop into to draft mode there. So you would just do that right here.
Okay.
So it expires at the end of this specific day. So we can probably add in just the time of day. If people would find that useful, it's something we could work on.
Okay. Any other questions? Well, we got Joe. This is a perfect opportunity to pick his brain. All right. Well, in the meantime, if you come up with something and or if you have some insight as to what you would like to see, then feel free to contact Joe at his email address, jchura@dealerinspire.com. You can also, I'm trying to type an email at the same time, speak at the same time. You can also contact me at dealerinspire.com, DI@dealerinspire.com, and since I am less than 5 feet away from Joe, it's easier for me to pick his brain.
Yeah, and I have one more thing to add on that note. If you are like a Ford dealer or a dealer that has, like how I know Ford very well, so X-Plan or like a provider, and a special deal that you want to give a business, you can also target that business. That could be a really good idea. So for example, I know Ford has to deal with Walmart employees, right? So if I hit Walmart here, I could find out where the Walmarts are, and I could geofence that area. So if one of those employees, you can have HR or someone go in there with a flyer, email the HR person of that specific Walmart, tell them about that offer, do a geofence around Walmart to talk about that offer as well. And then when they visit the website for the first time, you can say something like, welcome Walmart employee shopper. I mean, you can do things that detailed. So you can see where you can be as very creative with this. And I know Jay Mealy, who's on this call from Sport Mazda, is extremely creative with the personalized content and the geofences that he comes up with. So highly encourage you to push the envelope. Would love to hear what you're doing. And it just helps us see what else we can develop to make your life easier and to help you guys sell more cars.
I mean, I know one of the other things that people, and instead of it's not just about selling as well. You can also use this for community building. So, it's going along with what Joe said about, Ford and the relationship with Walmart employees. I know that a lot of you have, are by military bases or by schools or fire departments or, colleges or something like that. So you can also have special content specifically geared towards them, or for, if you're sponsoring T-ball and you got the ballpark around there, then you can, put a fence around there and really do some community building as well. So it just works all around. So there's really, the only limit your imagination.
Yep. So thanks everyone for your time. Shoot me an email if you have any questions or ideas of how to enhance this tool. This is just the beginning. We have a lot more coming in the pipeline, and look forward to the next one. Thank you for joining these How Do I's.
Yep, and fill out the survey. That's also a great way to let us know what's going on. So thank you. I am Shawnee, the trainer of technologies for innovative dealers such as yourself, and we'll see you next week.